back in command. Matt Parker Tutorial Services are indeed back, and we're looking at designing tables using Microsoft Access 2013 today. Now, over the last few months, I've been busy teaching down in Surrey, and I've had lots of feedback on videos that I need to include, corrections that I need to make, and some other good ideas of things that I've taught in class that people want to see. So today we're going to look at how to design a set of tables in Microsoft Access 2013. So, Matt Parker Tutorial Services are back, helping students with the coursework, teachers with their administration, and helping businesses get systems off the ground. Now, the mission for the next few weeks is to create a series of videos which help you go from scratch to a fully implemented and business-ready system. Now, I'm going to be using different software for this, and I've been playing around with software for recording, and thanks to my friend Eunice, who is CEO at the CWC, he's recommended a piece of software called Video Scribe, which I'm going to have a play with as well. Anyway, back to today, designing tables in Microsoft Access 2013. So, first thing you'll see when you load Microsoft Access 2013 is this screen here. We're going to create a blank Access database. Then we're going to right click and go in design view. Now, that's okay because that's actually an hour late. And Eunice, you so need to get another phone. Eunice is smiling like a Cheshire cat, having assured me that there'd be no interruptions. Okay, so we're going to call this TBL Customers. And my good lady doctor is due to ring at 2 o'clock. So I'd better get this finished. Okay, so it's TBL Customers that we're creating. And as soon as we've done that, you'll see the view changes. You can see the screen much more clearly. And we start out with this, which indicates a primary key, which if you want to make a primary key, you can use this facility here. And it's set to auto number. Auto number means that the number for the primary key is automatically generated. Now, by convention, the name of the table is also the name of your first field. So we're going to have this one called Customer ID. Now, rules of normalization state that any data in a table must be atomized. That means broken into its smallest constituent pieces. So, name is made up of surname, which will leave a short text and will limit to 25 characters. And forename, which, again, we'll do the same with. Now, people might also want to record a title. So we're going to do a little validation here. So we're going to put in here title. We're going to use short text. And we're going to limit this to maybe 5 characters. It's always best to put a couple of characters over in my experience. Now, once you've set that up, you need to drop down the arrow and go to the Lookup Wizard. Now, when you use the Lookup Wizard, it churns away. And I want to get the lookup field to get values from another table or query. We're going to do that later, but for now we're going to type in the values that you want. Click next, and I'm going to put a few in here just to get you going. Mr, and then we're going to have Mrs, and then we're going to have Miss. Now, all that this does is put in a drop down arrow. It doesn't, people, and we can limit to the list. Okay, it doesn't do validation. We can do that separately, which we're going to look at in a minute. Now, a drop-down arrow is for speed of data entry. It isn't always to validate. It's a very important thing for you to remember. Okay? When I click finish, it'll do that. Now, I might want a validation rule to accompany that. You don't have to have this, okay? But you might want an error message to pop up. So I'm going to put in Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. Now notice how when I click away, it puts in the speech marks for me. If you go in and re-edit this, you will have to use speech marks. Now for those people who are total noobs to all this, that's shifted too. Now validation text is our error message, so I'm going to put in a bad one, which is please use the drop down arrow. The reason why that's a bad one is because if there's an error, there's 2 things you should do in a system. 1, alert the user to the fact there's an error, tell them where the error is and how to correct it. And try and do that in 1 sentence. Now, we're going to move on now, and we're going to put in address. Now, we can't, following the rules of normalization, you will understand that we can't just do it like that. We've got to break it down into its smallest pieces. So I'm going to do address line 1. I could change the character list, but I'm not going to. Address line 2. and postcode. Now, if you look at my other videos for validating postcodes, okay, that'll show you how to do that and how to use input masks, etc. In this demonstration, I'm just going to limit it to 11 characters. You can do the same with phone number. And again, there was a video on that on how to use an input mask. Now, I like to use date of birth. Again, there's a video on that and how it tells you how to validate the date of birth and how to calculate the age using a query. And again, scribbling down on my piece of paper, I've got to cover how to do queries. That's one of the things that many students got stuck on. Now, when I've finished with that, I can click the X and I can save the changes. Fantastic. Now, there are other videos in this series which show you how to make forms, which show you how to put relationships into a table, and which show you how to make an order form, an invoice query, etc. All of which I'll be going through to correct. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is quickly show you. I've got a table there. I'm going to create a table again. So I'm going to create a table in Design View this time. This time the field name doesn't come up, so I'm going to do a table for product. So I'm going to put up here product ID. Now your product ID is your unique identifier, so I'm going to have that on auto number. When I've done that, I want the name of the product. Now it's very important that you don't just use name on a database, so I'm going to call this product name. I always recommend, as is normal database practice, to use as short names as you can. And here I'm going to have our product having a price. We're going to look at this concept of price in more detail in later videos, and we're going to have this on currency. Okay, now I'm going to close this, but before I do, I need to make this here by highlighting it a primary key. And then I'm going to click close, and I'm going to click save, and I'm going to call this, of course, TBL products. That's it for this video. Okay, I want to keep it under 7 minutes. Thank you for listening.